Nope, it's not a phaser, unfortunately. What it is a McPhar 3-channel scintillometer or spectrometer. This dates back into the 1970s. It actually still works. I am going to put the calibration source up to it, but I'm going to have to flip it up right like this, and I'll have to move the camera around a bit. So just one moment. So there's the calibration source that it came with. Unfortunately, the calibration numbers have worn off. So what I'm going to do is set this to T3, which is uranium gamma rays only. Set the scale to 1000. So for a bit more clarity, there's a T1 reading, T2, and T3. T1 reads potassium, thorium, and uranium. T2 measures thorium and uranium, and T3 only measures the uranium gamma rays. And that way you can actually, through calculations, figure out how much uranium, how much thorium is in your sample. And turn it on. Okay. I'm going to switch it over to times 100. So on times 100, it's reading almost 8,000 counts per minute. Next, I'm going to switch it back to 1,000 and switch it to T2, which would be recording both thorium and uranium. So it's on times 1,000. So it's reading about 30,000. Now, just for clarity, I'll switch it over to T1, but it's just going to peg it. So, no use pegging the meter too much. One moment. I'll now bring in my GMC 500 Plus. And it's reading around 6,400 counts per minute. And you also have the microreceivers there. Let's just see if I can zoom in. And it says I can't zoom in. One moment. Okay, zoomed in now. Well, 6,700 counts per minute. And I'm just going to turn this off now for a moment. And my calibration source now gets to go back out into the garage as far away from me as possible. So what I'm going to do is a quick teardown of this, and it's a step-by-step from the manual. And this is a non-destructive teardown because I want this thing working. One moment. First instruction is remove this panel. I'll get to that as soon as I remove the screws. And let's see if this will just pop out. Ah, there we go. And I forgot to remove the batteries, so I just took out the batteries. And the next instruction says to lift this up carefully to get at the connector. There we go. Next instruction is to flip it over like this and remove these 4 studs. And then after removing those 4, it says to remove this here. And the instructions get a bit fuzzy now because it says just to lift this out, and it's not going to lift out. Not with these things attached. So we clean this back. And it's supposed to just lift out. Okay, that's not working, so I'm going to change the order and remove the other side. So after removing that, this just lifts right out. I'm just going to put this over here for the time being. And let's see what's going on with this. Okay, that now makes sense. I was trying to lift this panel out, and no, this all slides out this way. So in here, if you look way down there, is actually the crystal. And I'm not sure if that contains the photomultiplier also. And I'm not about to try to pull it out because I do not want to damage it. And here, well, we have the connector. Oops. And, okay, have the connector. And the basic electronics of it attached to a 50 microamp display. So that's what's in here. Now I'm going to put it back together. Oh, let's take a look at the trigger. So this part in here is just a straight turn on off. It applies power. Up there apparently is the speaker board, or the speaker board, so that this thing can make noise. So the bottom part does, I believe, the counting, or outputs the signal up to here just to make lots of noise, so that you can actually have this thing on your hip belt and be walking along with it just turned on continuous, and then you hear if something you step over something. So one moment, time to reassemble it. Now let's see if I can get a close-up of that connector. That's a different one. So the top one has 2 forks going one way, the bottom has 2 forks going the other. Yeah, first time I've seen a connector like that. And I didn't see anywhere in the manual where it said which way these go in, but that's the way. And so this thing operates 2 different ways. You can see it's on off, and you can take a single reading just by pulling back on the trigger, and essentially it's fully operational. Or you can switch it to the on position and just walk along taking readings. I'm just going to switch this over to, so on this one here now it's reading both potassium, thorium, and uranium. And normally that's about the background I used to get on this also. It was around 50 or 500 counts per minute. So that's it. as I say, not a phaser. Interesting geophysical tool from the 70s.